Hey guys, I've got a special video for you today. This is going to be the first part in a three-part series where I will be discussing and breaking down and critiquing Jill Stein's Power to the People plan. Now, I am not a Jill Stein policy supporter. I support her as a third-party candidate. She's a better alternative than either of the major candidates. And I kind of want to take her plan. There are 12 points in it, basically, and break those down, discuss my thoughts on them. So this video will be broken down into sort of an introductory remarks section, and I will be taking the first 4 points from her plan and discussing them. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get on with the video. So I'd like to start this section by reading the mission statement of her Power to the People plan, because that'll give an idea of what exactly it is. And what she has on her website says, "My Power to the People plan creates deep system change, moving from the greed and exploitation of corporate capitalism to a human-centered economy that puts people, planet, and peace over profit." And this is her platform. The points that I'll be going through in this video and the 2 subsequent videos, this is her platform for running for president. This is what she wants to do if she is to be elected. And as I said at the start of this video, I want to go point by point and really break these down and really kind of get into the nitty-gritty of what they're saying. So it won't be so much me talking about the ideals behind her plans so much as looking at how she wants to achieve those ideals and whether or not those plans are realistic and are achievable. So I want to break down their policies and not the ideas. Unless, of course, the idea is so, like, out there that I feel like it needs to be talked about. But I feel like most of her ideas are good. It's just whether or not they're achievable or whether or not this plan talks enough about how she wants to achieve them. So that's where we're going with this. And if I stray away from that, I'm sorry. But that's the plan. And we'll move on to the first 4 topics for this video. Let's get to it. The first tenet in her Power to the People plan is what she's calling a Green New Deal. And I'm going to read the bit she has explaining this. It says, "A Green New Deal, create millions of jobs by transitioning to 100% clean renewable energy by 2030 and investing in public transit, sustainable agriculture, and conservation." So I'm going to break this down into 2 parts. We're going to talk about the create millions of jobs, 100% clean energy, renewable energy by 2030, and then the investing in transit, etc. And I'd like to throw out there, you can see this entire plan at her website, which I will link down in the description below. So, creating millions of jobs by transitioning to 100% clean renewable energy by 2030. It's a great idea, but how will you do it? There's nothing here that lays out how that's going to be done. And I totally realize that there may be other places that she's explained this and how it'll work, but this is your campaign website. If there's any place to be in depth, it's got to be here, which is why I'm only going to be using this website for this critique. So there might be things I'm missing, and I realize that. And if you want to put this in the comments below, please do, because I'd like to hear them and I'd like to read them. So, create millions of jobs. I don't really think that this is realistic. It's 14 years to go to 100% clean renewable energy. I wish it were realistic, because I think that's a fantastic goal. Natural energy is on its way out, and being clean renewable makes us energy independent, which is also great. But there is a lot of hiccups in this. Now, it says it's creating millions of jobs, but it's also cutting at least tens of thousands of jobs, and very likely many, 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 many more. When you think about Appalachia, West Virginia, through the Appalachian Mountains down into Georgia, parts of the Carolinas and Virginia, a lot of those areas, especially the more rural areas up in the mountains, mining is their entire way of life. And if you take that away, they don't have jobs. Now, I don't know if there are plans to put renewable energy sites like solar panels in the mountains and have these people man them, if that would even create enough jobs. Because, I mean, there are towns all in the Appalachian area where everyone works in these mines. I don't know that a solar, like a solar energy, I don't know if you'd call that a factory or an energy farm, whatever you'd like to call it, would need that many people to man it, or what kind of qualifications those people would need to man it. So that's something that pops out into my head, and that's a really important question because it's a lot of people's livelihoods that is being put on the line there. And moving on to investing in public transit, sustainable agriculture, and conservation. I just think that's a good idea, especially the public transit. I don't think there's near enough of that. But again, if we're going to be 100% clean renewable energy, what will that public transit look like? Will we have something like a solar bus or like a hybrid bus? I mean, those would be neat. Those would be cool. I would ride those. And I could see that creating a good amount of jobs, but it would create a good amount of jobs in an urban area. Again, returning to these small towns in Appalachia, you don't need buses in these tiny towns. At least not many, not enough to make enough jobs to replace the mining jobs. And with regards to sustainable agriculture and conservation, I think investing in that's a great idea. There's no real reason not to. I mean, anything that's goal is to keep animal populations up and keep farming techniques and food healthy for people is a good idea for me. I mean, I'm cool with that. I'd like to stay healthy. The second section of Jill Stein's plan is entitled Jobs as a Right. And this says, create living wage jobs for every American who needs work, replacing unemployment offices with employment offices. Advance workers' rights to form unions, achieve workplace democracy, and keep a fair share of the wealth they create. Now, the first half of this, the creating living wage jobs for every American who needs work, again, that's great. How do you do it? Now, this could very well tie back into the Green New Deal. I'm sure it does. Getting jobs with public transit, sustainable agriculture, conservation, the renewable energy. I'm sure that ties back into that a lot. But there are a lot of unemployed people in this country, and as I spoke about in the previous section, if we were to be 100% clean renewable, there would be a lot more jobs lost and a lot more unemployed people. So I would like to know, and I mean, this all ties back, I'd like to know again how we're going to compensate. As for the advanced workers' rights to form unions, achieve workplace democracy, and keep a fair share of the wealth they create. Does she plan on fixing unions? Because I know a lot of unions now don't really work for the interest of the people in the union. They work for the interest of the union itself and the leadership of the union. So, would this work to fix unions, achieve workplace democracy? I'm not exactly sure what she means by that. Does she mean that every company, workplace, the boss should be elected? That kind of thing? Because I'm not really sure about that either. Especially when you're thinking top rung of the company. Because as much as I don't like people sort of hoarding money and screwing over employees and stuff like that, the vast majority of companies, the people at the top, have worked there for a long time and earned their way there. Now I know there are companies where they're passed down from generation to generation within a family, but again, originally someone worked to get that company where it was, and honestly, it's their prerogative and their right to do that. as shitty as the outcome can be. So I would like to know what she means by achieve workplace democracy, and then keep a fair share of the wealth they create. It's to me that's dangerous. Because if the government can regulate, say, how much money you earn, how much money a company has to pay you, what's to stop them from just saying we're going to take control of the company and run the company? And that's wrong. You're taking away someone's freedom. You're taking away the corporation's freedom even as an entity. And that's very... Where's the liberty in that? Where is the liberty in that? With a government that just takes control of everything. I would argue there isn't any liberty in that. So these are... The second half, these are some ideas that really need to be fleshed out so people can fully appreciate what she's going for when she says these things. The third point on Jill Stein's plan is to end poverty. And the website says this will guarantee economic human rights, including access to food, water, housing, and utilities, with effective anti-poverty programs to ensure every American a life of dignity. Now, in theory, again, it's fantastic. Who honestly wouldn't want that? To have everybody have basic human rights and necessities. Like it says, effective anti-poverty programs. One, what is an effective anti-poverty program? You need to be specific as to what that's going to entail. And two, who is going to run these programs? Will it be the federal government, the state government, the local government, communication between the three in one massive program? And when is this too much government? This is government, unfortunately, regulating people's basic rights. So who's to say what's enough food, water, housing, and utility? Is it the government say? Is it the person say? And if it's the person say, how do you pay for that and how do you anticipate it? And if the government say, that's a dangerous precedent saying, well, the government really knows best for you. So there's a lot of sticky situations in here that you don't see on the surface until you kind of dig deep into it. And again, like I say, if it were cut and dry and it were easy to do without kind of bringing up these political questions, who in their right mind wouldn't do it? But this brings a lot of baggage with it. And that is baggage that I don't see Jill Stein addressing. And it needs to be addressed. The fourth section of Jill Stein's plan is titled Healthcare as a Right. And this says, establish an improved Medicare for all single-payer public health insurance program to provide everyone with quality health care at huge savings. Now, I'm just going to break this down piece by piece. So it's a Medicare for all single-payer public health insurance program. So that begs the question, will this be like Medicare and be a payroll tax? Will this be removed from everyone's payroll? Since it covers everyone, will your Medicare tax go up? Will you be taxed more in order to cover this? This is a single-payer public health insurance program. And I assume because it's Medicare, it's a single payer that the government will run. So the government will be in charge of your health care. And this is a lot like, obviously, a lot of people were fans of Obamacare. And that's a government-run health insurance. Whatever. I didn't like Obamacare for that reason, and I don't like this idea for that reason. Because why let the government be the sole provider when there are a lot of regulations on insurance markets right now that if you took those away, it would make health insurance wildly affordable. Now, this wouldn't affect everyone, unfortunately, but I feel it's a better solution ultimately because your health is in your hands. It's your choice who you trust with your health care, and it's not the government. This plan it reeks of the government saying this is what you get and take it or leave it because it's the only one you get. It's the only option you have. And I don't like that. This is the idea of liberty. You really can't have liberty and freedom of choice if there's one choice to choose from? So that's a big problem I have with this one. It says, it'll provide everyone with quality healthcare at huge savings. The savings it's sort of moot, because what are you saving? Where are these savings coming from? There isn't really another choice. So how are you saving money? You're exercising the one option you have. Now, this could be just an option for people that don't want to kind of venture out and do healthcare on their own. And that'd be cool. That'd be fine. But questions I'd have there, one, why isn't that more specific in the writing of your website? I'd love to, I mean, you'd really want to see this if that wasn't the only option. And two, would people that aren't opting into this system still be paying the Medicare tax? If you opted out and had your own insurance, would you not have to pay the tax? I mean, these are important questions. Is that where the huge savings comes from? Would they finagle it in such a way that if you did opt in, you'd save a lot of money compared to private insurance companies? These are questions that I feel like need to be answered. And this has been kind of indicative of this first video, these first 4 points. These things don't seem to be fleshed out very well. That's a big red flag to me. But again, they might be fleshed out other places. If they are, please link them down in the comment section so I could see them. But ultimately, that's all well and good, but if you can't flesh them out on your website, then that's a big problem, because that's where a lot of people will go to figure out what you're for. But anyway, guys, that is the last point I'll be covering in this video. This is the end of part 1. I know this is a longer video, so if you're still with me, thank you for listening. Any comments, leave them down in the description below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Keep yourself up to date, see when part 2 comes out. These are longer videos, and I'd love to get them out like 3 days in a row, but that's just not going to happen. They're long videos. They take a long time to put together. Part 2 will be out by this time next week, I promise you. Beyond that, thank you guys for listening one more time, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.